Andrew Pawlak here, co-founder, CEO at leadpops.com. My friend, longtime client, Scott Schang.
Yep, Scott Schang, founder of findmywayhome.com and partnered by Wise Mortgage. leadPops, for me, it was an epiphany.
After talking to you, kind of looking into how far you had gone with it, and I loved it because that is what we recommend when we're on the calls with clients, doing coaching, offering advice. We're typically talking about those things that most people don't think about. Like, hey, you've got a specific message on your content page. You're talking about a specific product or program. Make sure when someone clicks through, you're not using the general or generic call to action that's built into the page. You can customize it. You can make it match. And going through and kind of seeing, not only did you match the main call to action, and it was different across all these different pages to cater to that specific audience. So you had done something really cool with that little graphic where we provide a stock image. You would customize that as well. So just the messaging, the cohesiveness, and then the fact that you had actually gone in and made it really compelling. Enter your zip code to get started now. Some of these things that you were doing, in addition to our kind of default offerings, were really cool to see. So you definitely ran with it.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to bridge that. Just create a cohesive journey for the customer, and so the way that I use it is it's not necessarily not like FHA loans or things like that. I write about problems that consumers have. So qualifying for a mortgage with student loans. So that's the article. So when people click on it, find a mortgage expert that understands student loan guidelines. So we can bring them all the way through. And I would actually match, initially what I was doing, is matching the call to action was an image. And then I would put that same image on the form. So they knew they were in the right place. Yep. It's just the next step. It almost, even though they were going off of my site onto a leadPops page, like an offsite page, it still kind of looked a lot like they were already there.
Yep.
Yeah. With a lot of technologies out there, you either have to be a data scientist to understand it, or it's too simple and you can't use it. leadPops actually offers both. Like, you cover the entire gamut. It'll work out of the box, or you can dig in and you can really increase that conversion. You can do, like you said, mask it with the top level domains, and then all of the other stuff that you can do to really customize out the forms, and stuff that I've recently been doing that I think I mentioned to you.
I thought you just doubled your conversion rate like last week, didn't you?
Yeah, it was last week. It's been about 100 leads now since July 27th, and double is the smallest increase that I have. I have one that's quadrupled. So I have one that's converting at 40%.
What's your magic trick? What'd you do?
Superfooter. So I finally took advantage of Superfooter, which is funny because I was using the Superfooter. I was kind of using your default Superfooter for Facebook ads. So I started doing that, and that increased our conversion on cold traffic from Facebook ads, landing them on a lead funnel. And we were just running them to the regular funnels, and conversion wasn't great because there's not trust, right? When you're running cold traffic on Facebook, it's interruption marketing. Consumers not necessarily bought in. But then when I added the funnel, and I customized it very, very little, but as soon as I added that footer on there, our conversion definitely increased. But for the ones on findmywayhome.com, I actually customized those a little bit, to do two things. So the first thing that I did is I set their expectations. So I basically said on there, when you fill out this form, these are the things that will and will not happen. And the very first one is you will not receive 100 phone calls, right? So I'm basically trying to tell people, I'm going to introduce you to one person. This isn't a call center. You're not being tricked into something. And then I went so far as, because I use Verse. So I know that Verse is going to follow up on our leads. My default name is Alex. So I put in there, you're going to get a text from Alex. Yep. And so I kind of laid out what the journey was and what the expectations were. And I knew it would work. I knew it would work, but I didn't know it would work that good. And it really blew me away. Yeah, I went from single digit to low double digit to conversion, to where they're like 30 and 40% right now.
Beautiful.
It's crazy.
So that's cold visitors or clicks to leads, right?
No, that conversion is on Find My Way Home. So that's definitely not cold. That's typically, it's mostly organic traffic, going to long form content and video. But still, even then, that's high trust content, right? It's high trust content. It gets a lot of organic traffic. It's very, very detailed, and there was room for conversion, and it made me realize how many leads we were probably missing because there was not enough. It wasn't congruent enough, or it just wasn't. I don't know what it was, but that was one of the things. That was one of my projects that I committed to during the lockdown. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to get in and I'm going to finally start doing this stuff. So I did that, and I did a landing page.
Okay. So super footer, kind of a great way to kind of further sell the person once they've arrived on the lead funnel to go ahead and fill it out, right? So without that block or that content, they're not convinced quite yet, right? They hit the page and they're like, there's some questions. It's kind of interactive. It's fun. But that block below the fold can help kind of convince them that, hey, this is the right thing to do. Here's what's going to happen. And then you kind of set those expectations with that content.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a couple of key things that I did. So I used basically your model of I used your model of what it looked like, and I replaced a couple of things, and I changed some of the text. But then what I did, because I do have, like my photo is on the, like the author piece on the actual article. So then I put an image of me saying you're in the right place. Mm-hmm. We added the testimonial on there and just really reinforced that. This is still me, and you read my article. Now I want you to fill out my form, and here's somebody that I helped.
Cool. Yeah, very smart. Awesome. So as far as numbers that you're paying attention to, conversion rates on the lead forms, you had shared recently some statistics about some numbers you ran on I think 350 or so leads, or 53 leads you generated off of Facebook using lead funnels.
Yeah. So it's easy to, one of the hard things about marketing, especially in our space, is you find one success story and then people promote it like that's the norm, right? Yeah. And it's just not true. And I always hate that. But cold traffic on Facebook to a leadPops form, that was really, really interesting to me, because that really gave me the ability to analyze your data quality, right? So everybody says leads suck. Well, leads don't suck because a human being clicked a button, took at least 3 to 5 minutes to give you all of their personal information. I'm going to suggest that your follow-up probably sucks. Yeah. So anytime I hear that, and when we were running that, so those Facebook ads that we're actually running those for real estate agents. Yeah. So our realtor partners, our referral partners, we're running the ads for them. And they're paying for the ad and we're paying for the follow-up. So we're going 50-50 on the actual program. But agent, again, if you're doing something for somebody and you're saying, I'm giving you these valuable leads, and they're looking at them and they see the one that has a low credit score, they have the one that says they don't have a down payment. But I had the ability to take my leadPops forms, and a purchase funnel is 15 data points, which is insane and awesome. So we took those 15 data points, we analyzed those across 350 leads, and we were able to really determine what percentage of those leads, and it kind of blew me away. Like 40% had over 700 credit scores, but everybody's focusing on the ones that have 600 credit scores. I'm like, who cares about those? Yeah. You will never convert 100% of the leads. I don't know if it's you that said it or if it's just my personal experience, but you're probably not going to contact 50% of all of your leads. It's just 50% of leads are just, they're not ready now. They're not going to pick up the phone. They're early entry. Just on a first swipe, if you're contacting 50%, you're probably pretty good. So I don't care about those. I care about where are the good ones in there? So I have total spend, I have total leads. It's not the percentage of the leads, it's the business that you do out of the leads. And there's always going to be, it's the 80-20 rule. It's a Pareto distribution. 20% of the leads are going to account for 80% of your revenue. And then when I compared that to like the conversion just using Facebook lead ads and asking a couple of questions, the leadPops conversion and contact just blew it out of the water. It was amazing. It gave me the confidence to say that this is dialed. Now I have to work on everything else, right? Because I know once I get them in here, I can expect it. And it was very, very similar across multiple demographics, multiple income ranges, like in high-cost counties and low-cost counties. The numbers broke down to be really, really close to the same. As far as the super high-quality, big down payment, high credit score was the same in affluent areas as it was in less affluent areas. So it just kind of seemed like it was a law of averages sort of thing. But that consistency made me feel really good about the consistency that I can count on if I send people through a leadPops funnel.
Yeah. And seeing the breakdown the way you did it was really great. It immediately it triggered a thought in my head as to how we're going to create some reporting in our dashboard that can pull that kind of data automatically, but that's a separate topic. One of my favorite stats that you shared in there was the question, are you currently working with a real estate agent?
Yes.
So we ask, are you currently working with a real estate agent, right, on all of our purchase funnels?
Yeah.
So what is like 93%?
I think it was 97.
Okay. Said no, right? They're not working with a realtor.
Yeah.
So out of 350 leads, 90 something percent said not working with a realtor, right? 97, if it's 97, fantastic.
And what's funny is that was a Facebook ad to cold traffic showing homes for sale. So it was specifically targeting first-time home buyers. And the ticket, if you're a mortgage marketer, your goal is always to get in front of the customer before they talk to an agent, because then that's equity for us. Now we are in a position to be able to refer consumers out to our referral partners, which blows referral partners out of the way because nobody does that. So,
and pretty quality from what we're talking about in terms of these numbers. And it's not just here's a name and email of somebody looking for a house that wanted some free report or,
not even close
list of homes.
They jumped through hurdles,
We put an obstacle course in front of them and they jumped over all of it. And then they gave us a name, email, phone number, and they told us they're not working with a realtor. Right?
Yep. That's No, it's huge. It's huge, and it's made a huge impact on our relationships with our referral partners. They really enjoy it.
Awesome. I love that. That's one of my favorite things I hear from clients. It's like, hey, the leads are great. We're doing a good job with following up. We're closing loans, but the biggest thing we're seeing is the impact this has had on our realtor partners. The loyalty is there. This gives us an ability to go out and talk to new realtors that we're interested in working with because we can show them what we're doing with other agents. They get excited about it. So it's really cool to see the breakdown and how you did that, because I think that's really powerful. A lot of people compartmentalize. They think, oh, wait, so now I'm going to be like a Facebook internet marketing person when, I'm used to realtors. That's my business. I'm comfortable there. And not understanding that these two things play really nicely together if you are strategic about it. Like the Facebook ads, the internet marketing should definitely power your realtor partnerships and give you more leverage with your realtors to create value for them above and beyond. Yeah. I do a good job on the loan for you.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's one of those things especially when you're trying to build new relationships with referral partners, there's nothing that you can say. There's very little that you can say that everybody doesn't say. We've got good rates. We got great communication. We've got great turn times. We've got the best loans. We're super experienced. All of those are trailing indicators. Those are just empty promises until you actually get a transaction and you can prove it, right?
And it's kind of like, I sure hope so. That's your job. That's your selling point. It's like my car. It goes.
That's pretty much just your ticket to the game, right? Yeah. If you didn't have all of those things, we wouldn't be talking. But this gives you a whole different opportunity, especially if you have a track record of generating leads through leadPops and converting them, and you have some data. And heck, you don't have to, if you're listening to this and you don't have a ton of experience, use my experience. Use anybody else's experience who uses leadPops.
Absolutely.
It's not, I'm not special. I just spent more hours in it probably than somebody else. Yeah. And that's it. And I just did more than scratch below the surface, because as soon as you can, there's a treasure trove there.
Yeah. And we've even gone so far as to write scripting, right? It's in the book. Chapter 12 talks about this, but there is scripting as to what to say to a realtor if you've never spoken with one before, versus maybe it's an agent you've got a relationship with, but they're kind of hit or miss, and you kind of want to grow that referral source. So different ways to approach them, how to get them excited, because all this stuff really, we look at it as it's all kind of synergistic. It's all.
Well, and now you've got the new the logo combinator on the funnels, and that's really cool.
So the co-branding.
Yeah, so you do the co-branding, and you can do co-branding if you want, or you can add, you can do it just for them, or you can do whatever you want. Yeah, it's very cool. And I guess that's it. Stay hungry. Don't stay small, because you're going to grow like crazy.